It's the first week of June. Today's video is going to be clips from the entire week, kind of a little vlog style, seeing what the things I do on any given week in the garden. Hi, it's Heidi with Broadmeadow Farm. I'm just going to take you out into my garden today. We had 2 evenings of quite torrential rain. 2 nights ago it rained probably a good solid 2.5 inches, and it was so hard and so fast that it actually flooded my vegetable garden. Today I'm just peeking out here. We actually have quite nice sandy loam, so it actually means that I can get in the garden and work it today. If you have a heavier clay soil, you would want to make sure that you wait at least a day before you get out in the garden, before you'd make any solid footprints or anything. I'm out here today with the hoe, just kind of loosening up the ground around each row to make sure that I'm keeping those little weeds at bay. This here is my potato patch. I've got about 10-15 hills here. One thing that's important with potatoes is that as they grow, you need to make sure you're hilling them. You're going to scrape the soil with your hoe and pull it up gently around the base of your potato. What that's going to do is it's going to make sure that the sun doesn't scald any of the little baby potatoes as they start to grow. This here is my onion patch. I like to make sure that I disturb the soil on either side of the row and disturb any of the little annual weeds that might be coming in and starting. It also allows me to get in there if there's any dandelions or Canada thistle, and I can pull them up while they're still small. Onions are one of the vegetables that don't compete very well for weeds. The reason is they don't have a lot of leaves on them, so they don't have any shade canopy. Something like a potato, which has big leaves, will actually shade the soil and prevent the little annual weed seeds from germinating. So with your onions, you want to make sure that you're keeping the weeds out of them so that they have a good chance of growing nice and strong. One of the vegetables that we grow quite a few of is actually garden peas. They are a vining plant, so you want to make sure that you put them on a trellis. One of the reasons you want to put your peas on a fence is that as they get heavy, they tend to kink over, especially in wind and rain. And if they kink over, they stop growing. By allowing them to go up on a vine, it makes for easier weeding as well as picking. After a quick 20 to 30 minutes of hoeing in the garden, I've got almost all of the rows nice and clean, and I'm still waiting for a few things to germinate. So what I've done is I've just hoed along each side, knowing roughly where the seeds were planted, and I'll give it another week or so to see what comes up, and then I can get in there with the hand trowel or even just my fingers and pull out some of the bigger weeds. What we've got going on here in the farm is meat birds. These are a Cornish cross. They're about 5.5 weeks old, and they've got still about 1 month to go until we're ready to butcher them. Today is Thursday and I'm heading out to the raspberry patch. A couple weeks ago I shared a how to clean out your raspberry patch, and I had talked about letting the patch go for another couple weeks to see if I had any winter kill on the top. And yes, I actually have quite a bit of winter kill this year, probably a good solid 12 to maybe 18 inches in some sections. I've also noticed that it's in a really good need of some fertilizer. So over the next couple days, maybe a week, I'm gonna find some slow release fertilizer just to bump up the nutrients in there. Once you're out in your raspberry patch again, take a look at each stalk. You'll be able to see now where it is dead and where the new growth has started, and that's where you're just going to actively cut. So it's the end of the week, and today's update is just a check-in on the garden. We've had another couple days of rain, and I haven't been able to get out in the garden to weed it again since the first update at the beginning of this week. The peas are coming along really nicely. These are the little tendrils. These are what's going to, as they get taller, wrap around my baler twine and allow it to grow all the way up. This is the carrot row. These here are the carrots coming, and we've got some weeds. Next week's video, we're gonna go over what is a weed and what isn't. Here you can see the bean row is coming along really nicely. This row here has Jericho lettuce and some butterleaf lettuce. As well as you can see there's some red leaf lettuce coming, and it's doing really nice. These were all put in the ground from little seedling starts. This year I planted the Hecker variety of strawberries, and they're coming along nicely. And actually I'm going to pinch this flower off right now. I'm not quite ready to let them bloom, as I want them to be putting a little bit more energy into their roots. So I'll just keep cutting these off probably until the middle of June. The reason I cut off the flower buds is these were fresh new plants this year. I planted them in the end of April, and what I want them to do is focus right now on giving good roots and getting established. When it comes to pinching strawberry flowers, remember that they're only needed to be pinched if they were planted bare root in the spring. If you've purchased your strawberry plants from the greenhouse and they've come in a pot, you do not need to pinch the blooms off. They've had lots of time to establish new little roots. Something else we enjoy around here is chickens. I do have a few laying hens, and earlier in the week we did have a fox get in, and so I lost quite a few hens. But thankfully they didn't get into my meat bird coop. I raise Cornish giants. They are a fast-growing meat bird, anywhere from 8 to 11 weeks from hatching to the freezer. Thanks for gardening with me this week, and as I said earlier, next week's video will be what is a weed and what isn't, helping you identify weed seedlings in your yard. Thanks for gardening with me this week. Don't forget to press like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any notifications or miss any of my upcoming videos. If you have a question about gardening in Alberta, don't forget to leave it in the comments down below. Thanks and happy gardening.